What's up, y'all? I'm back. This time, I'm gonna talk about one of my all-time favorite shows. So, I'm pretty sure most of y'all know of the show. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That is one of my favorite shows. Like, and the whole lore behind the whole creation of the show is really awesome. It's basically about three best friends, essentially four. Rob, Charlie, Glenn, Caitlin, all because Rob came up with the idea, and he helped, and he developed it with Glenn, and then I forgot who they pitched it to first, but I know eventually they pitched it to Fox, and Fox decided to pick it up, and then and the crazy thing is this show almost got canceled. By like season three, Fox was literally just like, y'all need to get a guest star or we're canceling it. And that could have Fox. That's one of the best things that Fox could have done. Could have, could have done, because we ended up getting Danny DeVito as Frank Reynolds, and that was one of the best things to happen in pop culture, bro. Like Danny DeVito and Frank Reynolds, like it should be illegal how freaking much that it worked. Like it worked. It was almost like peanut butter and jelly. Like it was. He was the jelly the show needed. I mean, the show was great without him. Or good without him, I think. But he definitely was the jelly to to their peanut butter. And Frank Reynolds is so funny. Like his character is always forever cracking me up. Like you never know what his character is gonna do. Like he always has his gun with him, his toe knife, all those all those things, and we just love an iconic king, and that's definitely Danny DeVito. But this show is just one of my favorite shows. Like I will admit, when I first started watching it, I should not have been watching it. I'm just gonna straight up say that. Like I think I discovered this show in like I think it was like probably like in elementary school going into middle school. And from the first episode, I fell in love with the show. The first episode was it's something titled "The Gang Being Racist" or something, and Dee, Dennis's sister, was dating a black guy, and the gang was making all these racist assumptions about black people. And you're Charlie dropping the N word and shit. That shit was funny as fuck. And he was, you know, kind of like dating the black girl to prove to the waitress, the girl that he's obsessed with and stalks all the time, that he's not racist. And I remember at the end of the show, I'm not the end of the episode, he called the black girl. I forgot her name. I don't want to call the black girl, but I forgot her name. The sister who happened to be the sister of the guy that Dee was dating, and I remember Charlie's like, that bitch or something, and he's like, that's my sister. And then freaking Max just like, oh, we all are related, and that shit was so funny because they were always already making that assumption that because black people are black, that they're all related, and that was funny as hell. And then all of them were like, no, 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 and it got so goddamn funny. And then the girl, the guy's sister ended up beating the shit out of Charlie, which is funny as fuck. But I don't know. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is one of those shows where it's just like it proves that a sitcom doesn't need a laugh track to be funny. It just needs good writing, good inside jokes, and it doesn't need a set. And this show was an example of that. It had a talented as fuck cast. The cast is so goddamn talented. You have Charlie Day, you have Glenn Howerton, you have Rob McKinley, or however you pronounce it. I probably botched that. I know I did. You have Caitlin Olsen, Glenn Howerton, Danny DeVito. It should be illegal to have that much talent in a show. And all of their chemistry is infectious, bro. Like, it really makes the show, because if one person's chemistry is off, the show doesn't make the show doesn't, you know, doesn't hit the way it does. There's a reason why this show's been on air since 2005 and it's still airing. It's because it has a dedicated fan base. And it has a dedicated fan base because the quality of writing has always been top tier and the characters have always been such phenomenally written. And it's a show, basically a parody of Friends, pretty much. Instead of Friends, being good people and being there for each other, It's Always Sunny is literally the opposite of just, they're terrible to each other and they're terrible to other people. They're just terrible people in general. And like, for example, the only reason why they are friends is because nobody would be friends with them. And I think that's a really good play on Friends, I think. And I think It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia really embodied that perfectly, pretty much. And I think that's a very, interesting concept because the gang has done so much fucked up shit in the span of, I forget what season it's in right now, but they've done a lot of fucked up shit, a lot. And each episode, they like raise the bar. Like, it's like, what can we do this episode? More fucked up. You have the different dynamics of the characters. Like, you have Charlie, the wild card. You know what the hell he's gonna do. You have Dee, the failed actress, who's always on her ass, just making her feel like shit, and you know, just always kind of just degrading her. You have Dennis, the kind of the sexual predator, for being totally honest. You have Mac, the wannabe tough guy. You have Frank, the lunatic with a gun. You never know when he's gonna shoot. He's kind of low-key homophobic. He's not anymore, but his character used to be. And all of that just works so well together. Like, they all generally are great people. I mean, no, sorry, great characters, not great people. They're terrible people. But for some reason, the character dynamics just flow seamlessly, together. That it's just an enjoyable watch from start to finish. Like, each episode is so funny. Like, my favorite episode is probably The Night Man Cometh. That episode is so fucking funny. And then you have the gas episode when they were selling gas and shit in the back of Dennis's car, and they were had roles each of them would play. That was funny as hell too. And the episode when, I think that was the same episode where they ended up blowing up this guy. No, that was a different episode. When they ended up crashing into this guy's car and blew it up. That shit was so funny. I don't remember what episode it was, but that shit was funny as fuck. And then you had the episode where, what's another great episode? You ask me, my personal favorite was probably the latest episode that they did. The one called Dennis Takes a Mental Health Day. That episode was fucking phenomenal. And Glenn Howerton really got to shine in that episode. I mean, they're all phenomenal in every episode. They're all amazing as their characters, but Glenn Howerton really got to shine. Like, he really did. I really enjoyed that episode. It's my favorite episode of the show, which really says something because The Night Man Cometh used to be my favorite show. But it was just so well directed, so well edited. The script was really well. And one thing I just love what the show does, it stays kind of updated with the norms and the things that have happened was, actually in the things that have actually happened in real life, kind of socially, the shit that's happened, the issues. And a lot of the times we make fun of it. Like, I remember the episode when they were pretty much saying who they voted for president, and it was a whole episode. And the guy is like, "Oh, y'all voted for Kanye." I mean, no, excuse me. I said, "You all voted for Donald Trump," and they're like, "No, we voted for Kanye West." And it makes sense because, of course, they would. That was funny as fuck. I'm like, that's so fucking funny. Like, because the episode built it up like they voted for Donald Trump, but then they're like, "No, we voted for Kanye West," and then it ended on them playing, I think, "Power" by Kanye West. It's something like that. But that episode was so fucking funny. It really was. But it's just such a great show, and each character so far, they've also gotten individual episodes. Like Frank got his own episode, kind of, in his perspective. I think I think Charlie got one. I'm not really sure. I know Frank got one. I think Charlie got one. Dennis just got one, which was the best episode of the show. Um, now we just need Dee to get one, and Mac. But it's such a great show. Like, it really is, and I really want this show because the cast has also mentioned that they want to do this to, like, they get really old. I would like to see the show go into, like, I would like to see it go in 30s, like in 30 seasons. That would be iconic. Like, I've been watching the show, but I would say damn near going into a decade, in a few more years. I've been watching the show for a minute, so this is a show eventually I would like to show my kids. Obviously not to the mature. Obviously, I'm not going to be showing them this when they're like 12 because it's highly inappropriate. But it's definitely a show I'm gonna show my kids for sure. But it's just a treat. It's a treat to get to watch and to have gotten to see it evolve as a show over the past decade, going in 2 decades. It is just unheard of, and it's very, very, very cool to get to see as a fan, and just TV shows and just all that. It's really refreshing to get to see a show that's never jeopardizes quality. It's always stayed top quality, and the writing's always been consistent. The characters have always been consistent, and that's why the show continues to have one of the most dedicated fan bases for a television show, and why it's the staple show for FX. There's a reason why FXX, because it has a dedicated fan base, because it's a great quality show. And I'll watch the show till I die, for sure. I love this show. Like, this is a show behind How I Met Your Mother that I definitely have watched the most. I've watched this show probably, I would like to say probably like I don't know the exact amount of times. It's just I've watched it a shit ton. I love this show. These characters are terrible people, and it's so funny to watch them fuck somebody else's life. Like, each episode is like, whose life are they gonna fuck up? Like, that's the funny thing. Like, each episode throughout the show, they've fucked up so much people's lives. It is so freaking funny. Like, it really is. Like, they're terrible people. I cannot stress that enough. They are not good people. They are all going to hell. They are not great people. Like, the shit that they have done to each other. The only reason why they're friends is because nobody would be friends with them. But it's just a great show. It's a very good twist on, friends, because these are not friends. They're just people that happen to be friends because nobody would be friends with them because they are bad people. But they don't think they're bad people because they're kind of, what's the word? Narcissistic. And I think it's one of the greatest sitcoms ever, and it's one of my personal favorite shows. But I just wanted to share my opinion on this show and why I feel like it's just one of the greatest sitcoms to be created. And I'll probably make an in-depth character study on each character, but I just wanted to share my overview opinion on this show. It's a 10 out of 10, just everything done right, and just a solid show, and just, I love it. I'll probably watch the show till I die, but just let me know in the comments, like, if y'all like the show, if you don't like it, if it's your type of humor, if it's not, if y'all have a favorite character, if you don't. I personally don't. I think all the characters are iconic, and I love them, and they're all funny as hell, but I just wanted to share my opinion on one of my favorite shows, and yeah, just let me know what y'all think in the comments. I hope you all have a good day, and just let me know.